Part of being a melting pot nation is adoption of new ideas, new foods, and sometimes new words and phrases coming into our culture. In addition to words like speakeasy, bathtub gin, and 23 skidoo, another word has captivated the country, and that word is jazz. Denver Towns is contributing to jazz in a big way. Violinist George Morrison has a club in Golden and another in the Five Points neighborhood called the Casino Cabaret. However, it is Denver native Paul Whiteman who is shaking up the jazz world. Over the past 3 years, Whiteman and his orchestra have been ruling the Billboard music charts with a string of number one hits, some of them that we'll be featuring in this and very broadcast. Mr. Schaefer, all these music stars in Colorado, will Denver be a place for jazz for years to come?
Oh, I think you're very right, Doc. You're very right on that. And not just in the Five Points where you have the incredible mix of cultures there with the Pullman workers who live in the area, and you have the population of Denver coming up there and enjoying themselves. Paul Whiteman, a product of Denver. His dad, music superintendent of Denver Public Schools, known worldwide, the king of jazz. How wonderful it is to have the capital of this musical movement right here in the city and county of Denver. As a matter of fact, Mr. Whiteman is working right now with George Gershwin in New York City to compose an American concerto for his upcoming February concert in Manhattan. I'm very anxious to hear what comes out of that. I'm also offering him the opportunity to buy a ranch just up the road from my Ken Carroll Ranch, just over the line in Arapahoe County at Sheridan and right around Yale. And we'll see if he goes through with that. He wants to buy it for his mom and dad.
That should be interesting to see. Miss Griffith, what will be the effect of jazz music in Denver?
Well, certainly a more lively nightlife, but also an opportunity for people. Ironically, our opportunity school is quite close to the Casino Cabaret in Five Points. We see the opportunities that colored people are having now. Travelers are able to come here. And I also want to mention it's opening doors for women, too. Women both as entertainers and women working outside the home. This year, the Equal Rights Amendment was first introduced into Congress. I'm sure it'll pass quite quickly.
Seemingly so, though, we'll need to watch. Representative Johnson, do you expect more of these jazz joints to open here in our fair city?
Well, they probably, and they seem to be helping the economy, which of course is what I care about the most. I'd say thank you for giving me the honor of operating the record player, but I don't understand all that weird syncopation at all. I'd rather be listening to Barney Google or fiddle music. But Mr. Schaefer talked about the marijuana controversy, and it's true that the jazz players and the Negroes and the Mexicans around the jazz scene seem to be listening to it or inhaling it, I guess, smoking it. But I don't think we need to get into more of these divisive social issues. We should focus on growing our state and not dividing people and stirring them up.
Miss Buchanan, what do you think? Is jazz a menace, or is it the first truly American art form?
Well, Doc Reynolds and fellow panelists, notwithstanding Mr. Paul Whiteman, jazz has its roots in the colored communities of New Orleans and sprang from ragtime and the blues, and it has its global roots in West African music. And I suspect that long after each one of us here has passed on to our reward, that jazz musicians such as Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, even ragtime, Scott Joplin, Big Mama Thornton, and our very own George Morrison will be recognized as the true kings and queens of American jazz.
It'll be quite a feat to dethrone the king, Paul Whiteman, but you may have a point there, Mr.
Keep
Buchanan.
looking.